Hello, folks, and welcome back to Puffin Planes. Last time we left off, I had another update, and this is a new update to the game. It's a fairly significant update. I believe this is version 19. It came out roughly about a week ago from when I'm posting this, and I've been playing it almost nonstop since then. So let me update you on all the new things, and I might miss stuff, but I've really enjoyed playing the new updates. There's some really big quality of life things that have changed. There's some things that make the game more difficult, more frustrating, and more playable. So let's talk about all the things. First off, you'll notice like my normal network here is the same, but you'll see that like there's this airline right here in Houston that has all these kind of grayed out things. When I click on there, I can see that it's not one of our normal icon ones. You can see like I'm Crow Airlines down here at the bottom, so the Crow logo's there. They now have regional planes. So if we hover over this, it's Houston Transport is a regional carrier, and they are flying out of a lot of Houston. Over here in Guadalajara, there's another airline. I don't know which one that is. It is Guadalajara Connect, and they are a regional airline. And what you're able to do is offer code shares and all kinds of stuff. And basically, they're going to take care of those airports they serve, and you don't have to worry about them. And you can just kind of build on beyond that. For this one, I've really tried to make a major hub model. So we have Dallas Fort Worth as our major hub, and our other major hub in the middle of the US is Chicago. From there, everything's going to filter either east or west. If we're going to the east, it filters over to DC, Baltimore, or Miami, and eventually Havana and maybe Mexico City. Mexico City is going to be kind of my lineup in the middle for the Americas. Over here on the west coast of the United States, we have Portland, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. And right now they're all flying just to Honolulu. Eventually they'll connect all the way out here, but this is a hot mess that I don't want to deal with yet, because the competition is strong and we need to see what's going on. The coloring for all this stuff has been the same, not a big deal, because Havana, its throughput is horrid, so we're going to run out some more concourses there to knock that back into place, and that part's not a big deal. Having this crow here is new. So if we click on that, we can get an idea of where we're at with different things. Not only do we get our CEO rating, but we also have our expectations that we're supposed to meet, where we're above or below, meeting expectations, not whatever we have there. We have our passive effects and then actionable things. So we could launch a PR blitz and boost our ratings here down. We can lay off staff and get rid of different things. So there's lots of stuff that we can do there. Over in our contracts area, it's still the same. You can hit this red button or you can click on that. They go to the same place. And we have our A, Bs, and Cs and all that. Inside of our Puffin tokens or coins or whatever they're called menu, it's largely the same, but we have more options here on the left-hand side. Autobalance, which is the other new huge feature that we have here. I have it on by default. Sometimes I don't like that, especially early game as I'm trying to build out things. I don't like to have that, and I'll explain why in a moment. But you can check what model you want to have. If it's the same plane or different ones, you can automatically enroll new planes. You can set the airplane age, so maybe you can use just up to the newer planes. You don't want to use older planes for that. And then you can choose your standing class and all that stuff. This game's not super far in. We're on quarter 36, day 6, so we're 6 years in on this one, which is not super long for what I've played on some of the ones in this game. I've made my computer come to an absolute crawl on this, not even adding recording software or anything else, just playing the game, doing the stuff. So let me explain load balancing, and then we'll talk about some of the other parts of what we have going on here. When we go in and click on a route, you can see that we have auto balance turned on or off. That's easy. And then you can set your priority as low, medium, high, whatever. This route in particular is making us $141,000, which is, to me, a lot of money. That sounds good. But what this does is as our routes kind of go down here, we only are delivering 56% of our passengers. When we buy new aircraft, it's automatically going to put them on the routes that are needed for. By the same token, if we have routes that are not being used, like maybe this one, this has an obscene number of planes on it, but we're meeting our demand there. But let's say this only needed one plane and it had all of these planes on there. It would reroute all of these planes to routes that need it. So we could put it on here, over here, over here, depending on whatever it is that we need. It will automatically do all that stuff for us, which is fantastic. Huge increase on what we're doing there. As we fly over here to Europe, I have two main ingest stations for Europe. We have London and Madrid that are connecting to our two East Coast kind of hubs. and then we have a couple of smaller hubs going out through there. These are relatively new. I'm still working on that, so I have a lot of work to do with that part. I currently have 107 planes on order, and you can see that we have our passenger 350, veterans extended range, a micro, all kinds of stuff. If we go into our manufacturers here, this is largely unchanged. We see we have our planes that are active, able to be ordered. We have our models where we can influence all that stuff. We have our investment, and then we have our relations. They love me because I spend the most money out of all the airlines with them. We can see that with any of these and see what they are. It's not a big deal. All of this stuff is pretty much unchanged from the game previously. Again, this order priority and all of that has been updated over time, so that does matter. But for the most part, not that big a deal. I'm actually going to order some more of these real fast just while we have time. I have $53 million, and each one of these is 40,000, so I can order lots of them. Not a big deal. All right, what else do we have that's new? If we click over here in competition, we click on there. Now we have stocks. Not only stocks in the major airlines, which are the ones with the actual kind of graphics, but all of these guys as well. You can see for us with Crow Airways, we own 62% of it. The public float, which we can always buy up. I can click on it. I can start buying shares in there. We can buy that, or we can go in and find people who own shares of stuff that we want. We can offer them money. We can offer them a premium. We can also make it either direct sale or a shell company that we can hide our purchase from them. And you can see it affects the likelihood of that. If it's us buying our own stock, a shell company doesn't really help us. But if it's us buying a competitor, it might. We can also perform a heist, which allows them to go through, or us to go through, and not pay anything, but we can just steal their shares. We can also complain to regulators if they do go through and do that stuff. So there's all kinds of fun to be had there. And what I personally like to do after playing this for far too much time is find the airlines that I am personally invested in, like for Houston Transport. We know that we have a big hub in Houston, and we are in Fort Worth. So we connect and use a lot of them. We have a code share, and depending on how many shares that you own, you can force them into stuff. So if you own 20 shares, they cannot refuse that code share. We can actually redirect plane orders to us if we own enough. We can acquire planes. If we own 40%, we can just take over their planes. And then once we own a majority of the airlines, we can take over the entire airline. And when we do that, we can choose to keep the route, we can choose to keep the planes, or start selling off bits and pieces, whatever we want to do. We have lots of options available to us. And so we have all of that. We can also identify these little targets here. So if we hover over that, I don't know how to pronounce that, Lunanda shuttle, sure. And they're always named after the city they're set in. But if we take a look here, they're currently being targeted by Lufgol. So if we click on this one, we own 8 shares. Lufgol owns the vast majority of this airline. So they could take them over at any point in time. If we wanted to, we could try to buy some of them. And if we do it through a shell company and we offer them lots of stuff, that's unlikely. That one's unlikely. If we dial it back here, so they own 23%. That still gives them the majority, but then we could potentially try to buy some of that, and then they lose their majority stake. One thing to know, though, is anytime that you do this, it's going to cause these little flames, this disruption. And the percent disruption influences how much stuff costs you. So the more disruption you cause in the market, the more you kind of cause waves and problems and things, it's going to cost you more money to make moves in the market, which is fairly accurate of how things are done. I really dig this part. The only complaint I have about all of this is that when you set up the game, and I'll go out and set up a new game here in a second, and you'll see, but airlines can come back into existence. So if I were to buy up, what do I own? 51. Los Angeles Link. I own 51 shares of that. I could buy it right now. I could take it over. It's ours. All their planes, all their property, all that becomes mine. That's great. The problem with that is that now, like, the goal of this is just become, like, knock out all of the carriers. If you become the single carrier, you win. Game over. Yay, you. But the default is 15 days. So every 15 days, if there's a carrier that goes out, a new one can pop back in. Sometimes they do stuff, sometimes they don't. But it's kind of annoying, and it's very, very capital intensive. The game is significantly harder to quote unquote win now with all of that going on. Not a big deal, but still something just to keep an eye on. The only other thing that I will comment on here is that once you reach a certain size, like right now, let me go over into this menu. So you can see us. everybody else is down here. You can multiply them by multiple times, and they are not going to be anywhere near what our airline is. Crow Airways for life. So once you get to that stage where you just start accelerating and just destroying every other airline, everybody else in the game, what you can do is you can just start buying all the planes. I have 60 here, I have 16 here, 34 here, over here. This one's taking pre-orders. So let's order some more of these bad boys. So I'll order 50 of those. I have 26 of these legacy ones ordered. I have 15 more of these. Let's order some more of those as well. Why not? And then our leveraging veterans, we have those. I haven't been ordering the regular veterans. I've just been trying to stick to the extended range, mainly because they have a much better capacity. They travel a lot faster and they go a lot farther, and they're more fuel efficient. Across the board, other than the cost of them for maintenance, they're a better airplane across the board. So that's what I've been trying to do with those. But once you get to a point where you've achieved basically monopoly status as far as income goes, the game kind of starts to slow down a bit. Not like by the computer or anything, but it slows down in the sense that the real competition is gone at this point. There's no real need to fight and all that stuff. And the problem with taking over airlines once you own so much is that they also become actually more expensive to take over an airline than not. What I mean by that is not buying the stock and all that, but what I really mean is when we have that, when you buy an airline, you inherit a whole bunch of planes, and because you are the primary purchaser of all the planes, other people didn't have a chance to, and that means that they are flying all very old aircraft, which means that once you have aircraft come into your hangar, they immediately start going out to service all of the old planes that used to be there. So it's a little bit of a cat and mouse game. You have to kind of expand smartly. See, I have an old plane here, so if we go in and take a look, I can sort by age, and you can start knocking these out, and we can see that we have a Pico that we need to get taken care of here. Luckily, it looks like we have some planes in the hangar. No, we don't. They've all been assigned. Oh, it's just because I don't have any of that age. Okay, so if I go into details, select aircraft, we can see that I have a leveraging vet, and I have a micro in there. So I might change that over to a micro. We'll start that plane up, and then we'll sell this one on the open market. But by and large, the game automates a lot more of the things that it used to do, so you can pay attention to different things now. For instance, Houston Connect and Guadalajara Transit, was that what they're called? Connect, sorry. Those guys are great. They do all their work, and they've expanded greatly from where we started. And you can see that there are lots and lots and lots of more connections and planes and all that stuff. I really dig how the setup of all this has been done. Let me jump out of here real fast. Let me just save it real fast. I'm going to just save it as my thing here. Yay me. And let's go out to the main menu and let's start up a new game real fast just so I can show you what all this is. I always start with a random one. I like to have a known starting location just because I like to build routes that I kind of try to improve over time. So like in the next round, I would start as Dallas-Fort Worth as my starting point and then try a different game philosophy of maybe instead of hub and spoke, I'll do a point-to-point model and see if that helps at anything and do different things and see if I maybe just have, maybe that's the only airport that services all of the United States as my one hub, and every other flight that goes from the United States comes out of that spot. I don't know, but there's different things you can do with that. If we jump over into airlines, you can do all the same stuff. Nothing there is different, but the advanced area does have some new stuff. So we have all of this, the plane crash rate. I changed that to never just because I don't want to deal with that. And usually the only time I have plane crashes is when I take over another airline that has old planes. So I just don't play with that one on. Beyond that, let's see. I'll leave all that. I turn off sabotage. I turn off the retrofits. And I turn off exclusive rights. Mainly because sabotage, I guess it maybe happens in real life, but I don't like it happen in my game. I think it sucks. This one is brutal, where you can just cause chaos, and I don't like that one. And exclusive rights, there's no airport in the world that has just one airline only flying into it, and nobody else is allowed at all. Concourse airport airline buyouts and under my favor, yes. And the rest of the stuff I leave generally as yes, except for this major carrier spawn interval and the regional carrier spawn interval. 15 days is the normal one, and 15 game days is not a long time. So I set that up as like very slow at 60, just to give me a little bit of time to quote unquote win and to see what's going on there. But yeah, this is the update to Puffin Planes. I'm gonna play it some more here. I might cover some more episodes of it at some point in the near future. But I absolutely adore this game. I love building airlines and all that stuff. I think it's very fun. I'd love to see other versions of what we could do here. If we could do buses or metros or trains or a combination of things. I don't know how it would work, but I'm not the game designer. I just wanted to play more games, and this one I've definitely got my money's worth out of. So this is version 19 of Puffin Planes. Take a look; it's really fun. I really enjoy it, and I can't wait to see where their roadmap goes for new features. But folks, thanks for joining me. I'll see you later. Bye bye.